Hello students, today we'll study the first poem of 10th class and the title of the poem is The Dust of Snow. The poem is written by a very renowned and eminent American poet, Robert Frost. So to have a greater insight into the poem, we'll study 6 points about it. First one is a little about the life of poet, then we'll see the introduction, then rhyme scheme, we'll see the explanation part also, we'll study the poetic devices used in the poem and the theme it centers on and the message it gives out. These 6 things we'll study today to have a better insight into the poem. So let's begin with the life of the poet. Robert Frost was born on 26th March 1874 and died on 29th January 1963 at the age of 88. His full name was Robert Lee Frost, but he was eminently known as Robert Frost only in the world of literature, and he had American nationality. If we talk about the prominent works of Robert Frost, they are many in number, but few gems out of them are The Road Not Taken, Stopping by Woods on a Snowy Evening, Mending Wall, Birches, and Nothing Gold Can Stay. So these 5 poems are very prominently read by the people across the world. His poems generally revolve around nature, pastoral life. Pastoral life means the rural life, and the loneliness of the individual in this indifferent world. Means the world doesn't have anything to do with the individual beings. Our failures are ours, our achievements are ours. They do not impact the world the way we think about. So these 3, by the way, he's a versatile, but these 3 things frequently appear into the poems of Robert Frost. And if we talk about his philosophy about poetry, so in the words of Robert Frost himself, it is what is beyond that makes poetry. And what is unsaid in any work of art, its unsaid part is the best part. If we simplify the language, it means Robert Frost believed that in poetry, we can give just hints. The things are presented in the symbolic form and the rest of the part is left for the readers to understand in their own ways. Readers are given full opportunity to use their power of imagination and power of interpretation. And this we can see is very much evident in almost all the poems written by Robert Frost. In this poem also, we'll see the same thing. Over here, we can see the house, his farmhouse. By the way, this is his farmhouse, a beautiful picture you can see over there. He occupied in 1900 and remained in this farmhouse till 1911. So he spent his prominent 11 years on this place. We can see such a beautiful and sprawling farmhouse it is. Now we'll see the introduction of the poem. So the poem is very small. It contains only 2 stanzas, each containing 4 lines, which we call quatrain. So the poem is containing only 2 quatrains and simple on the surface. If you look at the poem, now you will see when we'll read it, it's quite simple. The poet doesn't talk too much about the things. He is not talking very high. He talks about a person. He himself is the person in this poem because he uses first person pronoun over here. He talks about a crow. He talks about a tree which is known as hemlock tree. And then winter season. Most probably this is the winter season only because this is snowing. It's snowing that time. So very simple. He talks about the 4 things which are very common, very simple. Why he has brought up all these 4 things for the people across the world. So on the surface only, if we go deep down, we'll find beautiful pearls and gems out of that. Then attack on superstition. Actually, the whole point is very symbolic in nature, and it is a, that sarcastic attack on the people who are superstitious in nature. Every culture teaches us in its own ways. Certain things are there we learn from the culture which are associated with the wrong notions. If we talk about our country, so black cat, especially black cat, otherwise any cat when it crosses our path, it's thought to be wrong. It's thought that something bad is going to happen with us. It is taken to be the ill ominous. Then hooting of the owl or crowing of the crow or stopped or damaged clocks in the houses or the broken glasses. All these things are taken to be ill ominous. We think that if these things happen with us, something bad is very imminent, is going to happen with us. So this we'll study over here. Then he praises nature. Always. You pick up any poem of Robert Frost, you will find somehow he believes in nature and takes it to be our mother. Nature is not less than mother for Robert Frost. We find every type of the solution and every type of the solace in the lap of Mother Nature. And most beautiful thing about this poem is also, like, this is the hallmark, we can say, that he juxtaposes human complexity and animal simplicity. Juxtaposes means puts side by side, puts together. So students, the reader might take only 8 seconds to recite the 8 lines, because I told that the poem is of just 8 lines, but it needs the devotion and dedication of whole life to realize the theme and the message of this poem. Dust of the Snow basically deals with the theme of communication between nature and humans, nature as a great healer of negative human emotions, and the significance of small natural events in the fulfillment of human life. According to Robert Frost, every littlest thing happening in this world leads to the fulfillment of human life. So now we'll see the rhyme scheme, explanation, and poetic devices used in this poem. So first let's talk about the rhyme scheme used in the poem. For rhyme scheme, we will be focusing on the last words and the ending sound of each line. So the first line ends in crow and the sound is ow. Crow, ow. So whatever the first sound is there, we know that we label it with the first alphabetical letter. So we'll label it with A. Next sound is me, E, me. New sound, next alphabetical letter. Then there is snow. So crow and snow rhyme to each other. So we'll repeat the same letter. And then tree and me, they are rhyming. So we'll repeat the letter over here also. So the rhyme scheme of first stanza becomes A, B, A, B. Moving to next, the first line ends in the word heart and art is the sound. So let's denote it with letter A. Next is mood, new sound. So let's denote it with the next alphabetical letter. Some part, heart and part both are rhyming, so we'll repeat the letter A over here. And mood and rude both are rhyming, so we'll repeat the letter B over here also. So if we go through this, we find that the rhyme scheme is very consistent throughout the 8 lines. So if the question comes what is the rhyme scheme of the individual stanzas or the whole poem, it becomes A, B, A, B. This is the rhyme scheme of the poem. Now let's see the explanation part. The way a crow shook down on me the dust of snow from a hemlock tree. We can see in this picture The first stanza gives us the context of the situation. These first four lines set the scene of the poem. And over here we can see crow is there, then hemlock tree. It is shown over here also. It's a conical, tree which is poisonous in nature. So tree is there, and the poet himself, and these are the flakes of snow. Snowfall is there. So he is talking about four things. The person is there, tree is there, on the tree there is a crow, and it is snowing. What happens? The message goes into the next stanza now. It will become very clear over here. Let's see. Has given my heart a change of mood. Robert Frost says that the crow shook down on me the dust of snow. Now see, the first lines only are giving a simple picture. We are not told whether the crow flew into the tree or he was already sitting on the tree. He was trembling with the, that chilly environment there, or he was adjusting or preening his wings, or he was trying to fly away. What was the case? It is not mentioned. But one thing is there. He fluttered his wings, and the moment he fluttered his wings, the branches and twigs of the tree got disturbed, and the snow which had settled on those branches and twigs rained down on the ground. But underneath was the poet, and the snowflakes fell on the body of the poet. Now again we are not told whether the poet was standing or sitting under the tree, or he was just passing under the tree. Nothing is clear. This is left for we people to visualize. And this is the beauty of the poetry of Robert Frost, because he said that unsaid is the part of the poetry. He did not speak much about all these things. We have to understand. Moving to the next stanza, he says that has given my heart a change of mood. He says the day could be divided into two parts. The part of the day before that incident and the part of the day after that incident. And he says that my mood underwent a change. So we have to find out whether his mood changed for better or for worse. He became happy or he became sad. And saved some part of a day I had rued. But last two lines give us a clear-cut message that his day became better. He became happy after that incident. And saved some part, that incident saved some part of a day, means the remaining part of the day. It saved. I had rued the day. Otherwise, he says that otherwise I had rued the day. I had spoiled my day. Rude actually means to feel regretful about the things which we can't undo. So he says that from morning till this point of time, the things just went other way round and I was not happy. The day was just a waste for me, but after this incident, suddenly my mood lifted. I became happy. And the remaining part of the day, again we are not given the length of the time, whether it was 2 hours left or 3 hours left or just half day was left for the sun to be set. So this we have to just make out through this context only. But the thing is, poet gives us a clear-cut message that the negative things we think, by the way, things are neither negative nor positive. This is our mindset towards the things, our attitude, how we look at the things. Crow is the symbol of negativity and ill omen. Hemlock tree is the poisonous tree, which is again negative image. But over here, the crow does something sitting on the hemlock tree, which makes poet very happy. And the underlined fact of this message is small events in this nature which we think are negative can fulfill our life. So don't live a conditioned life. This is the basic Message for We People by Robert Frost, that don't live a conditioned life. Break all the chains and shackles of narrow mindedness. Be open minded. Accept the nature as a whole and enjoy yourself. Now, moving to next, we'll see the poetic devices used. The first one is alliteration. So let's see how it is used in the poem. So for that, we'll be reading the first stanza once again. The way a crow shook down on me the dust of snow from a hemlock tree. So in these four lines, we do not find any example of alliteration, because we know in alliteration, first consonantal sound of the words are to be repeated in one line, but there is no example at all. So moving to second stanza, we can see has given my heart. Yes, over here we get the example of alliteration, has and heart. Both these words begin with the consonantal sound, that is ha. A change of mood and saved some part of a day I had rued. Again, in the third line, we find another example, saved and some. Both these words begin with the same sound, consonantal sound, that is se. So has and heart and saved and some. These two are the examples of alliteration in this poem. Next one is enjambment. What is enjambment? Generally, we see that the line in line, we do not consider the sentences, we consider lines. So every line we find is self-sufficient in communicating the message. But in case of this poem, you'll find if you read the first line, the meaning is not clear. The way a crow, it's just a phrase making no sense out of itself. If we have to complete the meaning, we need to go over to the next line and then we can understand. Shook down on me. The way a crow shook down on me. Now something is a little clear, but it becomes even clearer when we see the dust of snow from a hemlock tree. So in this we say the first line runs into the second line and third line runs into the fourth line to make the sense complete. And this is known as enjambment. The same is the case with the second stanza. Has given my heart is incomplete in sense, but when we read has given my heart a change of mood, now the sense is clear. So first line goes over to the second line to make its sense complete. And saved some part of a day I had rued. Again, these two lines put together complete the sense. So over here we find that this poem is a beautiful example of enjambment also. Now we'll see the theme of this poem. So in the poem, The Dust of Snow, Robert Frost talks about the importance of small things in our lives. These small things can change the attitude of the people at a large level. The poet wants the readers to learn from the crow and shake off all the miseries and sadness in the same way. Such small imagery, which is present around us, has a lot to teach us. Students, you can see that Robert Frost did not pick up the complex objects or the unique objects. Crow is such a common bird across the globe. Winter season, human beings, he picks up all the ordinary objects from the nature and then communicates his message. These images can change the mood of the people as they did to the poet in the poem. So simply speaking, he wants to say that in our life, we learn so many things through our culture. Different cultures teach different things to their people. But it's our wise part how to lead a happy life by being broad-minded. And in every culture you will find there are certain things which are specially that isolated and associated with the negative meanings. As I discussed earlier also, we can take the example of cat crossing the road or path, or we can take example of hooting of the owl, or we can take example of crowing of a crow, or broken glass, or that stopped watches and clocks, all these things. So these are what in reality their activity doesn't impact we people negatively, but once we make a mindset, the negative things start happening automatically, because this is what we feel, and whatever we feel, we start having that thing. A letter to God, I discussed about this thing in detail, and I mentioned a book also, The Secret, which is written by Rhonda Byron, and somewhere literature touches that part beautifully, especially if we talk about Robert Frost. So this is the theme of this poem, and moving to the next and the last step is the message. So through this poem, the message given by Robert Frost through the poem Dust of Snow is that a positive change can take place through negativity also. Poison can become antidote to other poison. This is the message. So negativity is not always harmful. Students, learn this thing. Sometimes negativity neutralizes another negativity. And that's why in nature things are not opposite in nature, they are just complementary. This is what Robert Frost wants to teach to we people. The people who are suffering from the chronic diseases or severe diseases and fatal diseases like cancer and HIV infected people, the drugs and medicines given to these people, if the same drug can be given to the healthy people, they will fall sick. Why? The medicines given to them are poison in themselves, but they neutralize the poison which is already in the body of the people. This is the meaning of vaccine also. Vaccine kills the bacteria inside but not the other cells of the body. So he wants to say that negative things exist in the universe because they have to neutralize something else which is negative in nature. So negative and negative, as in mathematics, also becomes positive. And that's why he says that small and even the negative things can make our life. Don't run away from them. Don't take them to be just rubbish and waste. They are also meaningful. So the little thing can bring big change in life, and simple act of kindness done can inspire others with enthusiasm and may bring huge change in their lives. So students, this was our very little but very meaningful and very profound poem, The Dust of Snow. I hope you got the meaning very clear, and in case if any doubt is there, you can comment in the comment section. I'll address and I'll answer. So that's all for now. Bye bye. Take care.